mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, lazima sisi kama community tujifunge wenyewe.
Pan-Africanism is that it will solve the problem of prosperity for our people by creating a big market for them where they can sell what they produce without limit. Now, the second one is that strategic security, to guard us against all threats from wherever, and using the undugu that God gave us. We are lucky. All these people we are talking about are either similar or the same. And in the case of East Africa, we have got even Swahili, which is a common language.
Kenya is invested in supporting the peace, the security, the stability of our region, and we will spare no effort in deploying our capabilities, our abilities to secure our region as we focus on what helps us to grow.
By aligning with East Africa's frameworks, we've begun harmonizing our trade policies and removing barriers that previously limited our ability to fully participate in the regional markets. The Somali government has already created an enabling environment through investment-friendly laws in place, such as the Investors and Investments Protection Law.
Le Burundi est un fervent défenseur du renforcement du commerce intra-régional au sein de la communauté est-africaine. Et à cet effet, la suppression des barrières non tarifaires s'avère être une priorité.
There are 4 pillars and they all had time frames, and 2 of them are very much behind schedule, but we are moving on. The customs union is moving well. The common market protocol is also moving, not as well as it should. Actually, last week we finally agreed on the mutual recognition of academic qualifications. You know, there's been a problem in this region. If you study in this country, you may not be able to do another degree in another country or a professional course like the lawyers. But now finally we signed the protocol on last week on the 30th. So some things are moving. Where we're not doing well is the monetary union. We are off schedule by almost 10 years. That one's not moving well. And then the political federation, because it was supposed to be the 4th pillar of political federation, is also moving slowly. So those are some of the areas that are not moving well. We have been having the discussions about how to end them. And actually, next week we are going back to Nairobi to focus on how to eliminate the NTBs. It requires negotiations, it requires patience, it requires harmonization, because there's still a lot of protection, not only in Kenya, but all the countries. There's something they protect against another. So that's an area we need to resolve. No, for me, if it was fast-tracked, it would solve a lot of problems, because we would have no more borders. No need to go to immigration to explain why you're traveling, how long you're going to be away. So those would end. And then we would also be able to plan properly and probably go back to the 1965 Kampala Agreement, where we had our leaders had agreed that each of the 3 countries specialize in producing certain goods so that we don't compete against one another. So if the federation came early, it would help solve these problems. What we agreed last week was that we start, those who are ready for the federation should start in the next 1 year. Then others who are slow can join later, because the program is off schedule, but we hope that if we start by 2 or 3 countries federating, then maybe the others will be convinced to join the federation. I think it would require some changes. For instance, making all the documents in both English, in French and Swahili, official documents of the government. That will take time. However, I think that we could start at the borders. The agencies could start at the borders. But progressively, we have to budget for that and make those changes, and also ensure that our staff understand the languages in which we are going to work. I think that the mindset is changing. At first, people thought that if we introduce Swahili, we're going to force them to abandon their languages. But I think now they've understood that you can speak all those languages and still be yourself. And I can assure you that the interest in Swahili is picking up. This freedom of movement has forced people actually to learn Swahili. My son went to the University of Dodoma for an activity with his friends. When they got there, those people were only speaking in Swahili. So they came back and said, we were in a meeting, but we were speaking English, we were speaking Swahili, we didn't understand what they were doing. So they came back, and that whole group which went started learning Swahili because of that experience. Similarly, the traders, they have a lot of difficulties interacting with the people in the market there and so on. So it has forced them to learn Swahili. And among the class, our inaugural class, there were many traders, there were many doctors, there were many lawyers. And I think it's a good way to market our people, because in the community, a time will come when you are told that you must have both English, French, and Swahili. It's an advantage. So there's no harm in learning a new language. So my answer would be that interest is picking up in the country. And also, it's in our interest to be able to communicate in Swahili in the region. By the way, it's not, without playing the issue here, but in SADC, Swahili is the fourth national language. The African Union, it's the language of the African Union. And also now it's a language in the United Nations. So who are we to not learn Swahili? Now within the community, we have the youth ambassadors. We have the youth ambassadors who attend the Council of Ministers, who attend the summit. We have essay writing competitions for the schools. Recently, the girl who did best in the East African community last year is a girl from Kololo. She's called Ayikoru. She's here in Senior 4 at Kololo Secondary School. And she was telling me that she did not, she took Swahili, I think, from Senior 1 and Senior 2, then abandoned it. Then she picked it up later. But now she was able to write an essay and win in the whole East African community. So there are a lot of programs which are going on where we are engaging the young people. Then for the women, if you, they are among the biggest number of cross-border women traders. They are the ones who do most of the trade on the African continent and in the region. So a lot is going on. I think the biggest one really is the popularization of Swahili. Before I came here, I think no one was talking about Swahili except a few people in their schools. But now the cabinet is taking lessons, the judiciary is taking lessons. We have now a public Swahili public class. Now there are 1,000 people who are undergoing training at the moment. So I think for me that's a big achievement. When we had the graduation, His Excellency said that he's going to support the Swahili program. So I hope that in the next budget there will be funding for that. The challenges mainly, as I said, really the non-tariff barriers, which are the biggest problem. And then of course sometimes issues like if Uganda is going to Tanzania, if you don't have a passport, you may not be able to enter the country. They don't recognize the national IDs. So that's one of the challenges. We have been trying to meet the immigration team in Tanzania to harmonize it, but this has not yet been resolved. So there are a number of things, a number of challenges in different sectors. I informed the cabinet 2 weeks ago that Rwanda and Kenya will no longer accept the expired IDs, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs said it's going to an instrument permitting Ugandans to get this travel document so they can still travel. We have a lot of plans. For instance, we have a new bypass in what we call the Kasongo bypass, that from Arusha to Mombasa. Instead of driving the old route, there's a bypass which goes from Arusha to Holili, to Voi, Taveta, and to Mombasa. Reduce the journey by 200 kilometers. Then on the Uganda side, we also have the Swam, Kapchora Swam, Kitale Eldoret bypass, which we are soon going to open. That will also reduce the distance from Uganda to Nairobi. And we are also working on the Mutukula Road, to ease the transport from the western side into Tanzania. We are doing roads between us and the DRC. There are also other, of course, we are working on the standard gauge railway and other things. So the potential is big. We, as a landlocked country, we cannot work alone. So you need to continue ensuring that we implement the treaty, because this cooperation of East Africa is not new. It was there before, even before the colonialists came. We were working together, living together, eating together. But more formally, since 1918, Uganda and Tanzania had an informal customs union since 1918. Then 1922, Tanganyika joined. Then we had all these. Later, we had the East African High Commission between 1948 and 1961, where we had we had a federation at that time, in a way, informally, but was working. We had a common court, the East African Court of Appeal. We had so many institutions which were joint. Our A-level exams were East African Community exams. They were common exams for all the East Africans. You do one paper in Kenya, and Uganda, and Tanzania. So all these are things that would be happy to see again. So I believe in the integration, and I believe in ensuring that we get the federation eventually. The interesting thing, recently we had a meeting of what they call the Atake tribes, and they're in Ethiopia, they're in South Sudan, they're in Kenya, Uganda, and of course the Maasai of Tanzania. We went to Moroto for a meeting, and they told me that if you are not here, we will be speaking our language. But now we are speaking English because you are here. And indeed, I saw a Topotha woman speaking in the Atake language, which was understood by the Turkana, understood by the Iteso, the Karamojong. They were at home. And this is throughout the region. And a few weeks ago, there was a festival in Soroti of the Atake people, and they came from all over the entire region. So there are many things that are similar, and in order to promote peace in this region, we have been encouraging our Karamojong to meet with the Turkana, to meet with the Maasai. We've had 2 caravans. The last one, we started in Moroto, where I went to commission the meeting. From there, they went to Lokichogio in Kenya, together with the Sudanese and the Kenyans. And then from there, they went to Narus in South Sudan, where if you found, you'd think that those are all Karamojong in there. But the first one was from Uganda to Lodwar in Kenya, Lodwar into Kajiado, and then into Namanga to meet the domiciled Maasais of Tanzania. So we think that all those are, like I said, if you find them together, you don't know who is a Kenyan, who is a Ugandan, or who is a Sudanese, and who is an Ethiopian. I think in the security sector is one which it is more integrated than the others. They meet all the time, they plan together, so it is very, very integrated. Of course, we don't yet have a single army. That will come with the federation, but they are working very, very well together. Where my ministry is concerned, we have designed a program together with the Kenyans to ensure that the movement of climate refugees. When there's no water, there's no grass in Kenya, they come here. Whether you like it or not, they'll come. So we have agreed a program where they should move in an orderly manner, use particular routes which you can monitor, identify the number of cattle they have brought, identify the number of people in the corral, so that when the season ends and they want to go back, we know that you came with 2,000 cattle, you don't go back with 10, because where do you get the 10? The children have to go to school because they're here for some months, all those plans, health and so on, vaccination. So we are working on that plan, and we've agreed between us and Kenya. We are waiting for the heads of state to commission the agreement, which we shall do when we go to meet in Moroto. Like I said, there are 4 pillars: the customs union, the common market, the monetary union, and the economic, the political federation. So that is the goal of the EAC. Of course, EAC is also expanding. the other countries that they want to join. So in a few years, maybe it will not be 8, it will be 10 or maybe more than that. So it's growing. Yes, I've been advocating for that because the process of the monetary union has taken time. So last week I told them that let us arrange and issue a currency which we can use alongside our national currencies, so that progressively that becomes our currency. And then if you want to abandon your old currency, you go to the new one. So that's what I proposed, and when we meet in Nairobi next week, we are going to discuss the modalities of how it can be done, because our traders are suffering, travelers are suffering. For the public, I would want to ask them to embrace the EAC. We don't have a choice. We need to integrate. We can no longer go alone. We need to integrate, plan together, lobby together, fight together. So I would want to ask them to embrace the East African Community Cooperation and also to embrace the programs. I want to thank the ministers in the region, the Secretary General in Arusha and the staff, and of course our heads of state, because ultimately they take the major decisions and then we do the implementation. And of course we have development partners, GIZ, the European Union and others who have been supporting us. I want to wish the people of Uganda a very Merry Christmas. I hope they have time to rest and go to meet their families. Kutoka mu biseera by'amazaalibwa ndi kwenda okwendeza abantu baife abeeka muli ni busoga yona kuda kuzo bulungi na kuda Christmas badibite bulungi banjira omwaka omuyaka mukole emirumbo gyaimwe bina bendeza bulungi byerere mbenda ino ulifira mu kifubo tujirwangada.